I kind of want to turn the air conditioner on. So I got an opportunity to just take a breather today in between things. Um, if you haven't seen my playlist about my brother's journey in mental illness, I strongly suggest you go ahead and watch as well. I will put this video probably in there as well. Um, because I'm thinking about his situation and the things that have happened since he's come out of the hospital on Wednesday, and it's almost like things were going well until um, chaos, and it started me thinking about the theory or the idea of what is luck. What is luck? And why some people think some people are more lucky than others. And my brother's situation, I think, helps me understand luck a little bit, or not luck, or misfortune. And first of all, he got re-diagnosed. He doesn't know this yet. He might know it, but I went through his paperwork more today and yesterday, and it was basically what me and the doctor talked. And he has, my brother, a combination of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. So it is schizoaffective disorder. Based on what I've seen and described to the doctor, he's like, yeah, that's it. So there is, just like a lot of people talk about spectrum of autism, schizophrenia has a spectrum as well. Okay. And so I kind of figured, based on as I was starting to research, that my brother was diagnosed, and I keep saying this in a lot of the videos, that he was diagnosed as bipolar like almost 20 years ago, but now he's getting re-diagnosed with schizophrenia. And I was like, well, what happened to the bipolar? Because I could still see him have, different kinds of moods. And doesn't that have something to do with it? Right? And so, yeah, so talking to the doctor, he has now, like I said, re-diagnosed him with schizoaffective disorder. And that just means the mood swings and the disorganized thinking and the delusions and maybe even hallucinations, depending, all of that. So that kind of helps in a way to help navigate a little bit more. The only drawback is that my brother, um, he again, this is a part of his disorder where he doesn't want to learn about his disorder. He doesn't believe that he's even ill, and he thinks, oh, I'm fine, oh, I'm fine. But then the next moment he knows he's not well, and that is what makes it tricky. And now back to the theory of luck or misfortune. Okay, so in the last 48 hours, it's a lot, y'all. So he was discharged from the hospital on Wednesday night. I went and picked him up. He was already having a mood swing in the middle of it. And I really thought, well, you make assumptions about things and then you find out you can't assume much of anything sometimes. So they gave him the prescription. I thought that they would also give him medication to take home, but they did not. So, um, nor did they even ask me. Like, they could have asked me because I've been in constant communication with them. They could have told me that, or even asked, hey, we can phone in a prescription, you can go pick it up. But they didn't do that, any of that. But anyway, um, because other hospitals have done that, just be honest. So he got a prescription, and again, it's in another video. So yesterday, I call him in the middle of the day because I'm going to go to our pharmacy and go get the prescription, right? So I go down there, I drop that off, or start talking to my pharmacist and trying to see what can we do, because some things are not available right away, some things are ready to pick up. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge of stuff going on. So I call my brother just to check in on him, see how he's doing, all that stuff in the middle of the day, around 11ish, and I say, hey, I'm working on getting your prescriptions. And so he's like, okay, whatever, and then like an hour later, I get a ping on my phone, and he basically went to the emergency room to ask for medication. Again, his disorganized thinking and his memory problems, he thought he would be able to go get it. I have taken him to the pharmacy that we go to, but he is accustomed to having health care in emergency rooms. And he's not the only one in the United States. There's so many people who use the emergency room as their healthcare system. And that makes me feel so sad for them, because that's not where you go to get. I mean, yeah, you go there to get the care you need, but the consistent relationship that you build with a doctor or a nurse or some kind of care team comes with having a regular practitioner. And the United States, unfortunately, is hard, where you got to pay, you got to, do all the things, and it's hard. And that's what I've been trying to relay to my brother. This is not easy for anybody who even has some kind of like focus and cognitive like ability. Okay? It's hard for me. I don't even need medicine. Okay? It's hard because it's frustrating, because they want you to jump through hoops and this and that and blah blah blah. So he goes, he asked for medication. He never got anything. And I went and picked him up when he called me. At first, I was going to be like, I'm going to let him stay there. But then I was like, oh gosh, um, let me just go get him. So I'll go and get him. Meanwhile, I'm in the back end, this in the behind the scenes, where I'm working my magic, emails, this and that, blah blah blah, all the things, this and that, trying to make the connections. And then I come to realize, as the other ER doctor yesterday, let's name these doctors, because now I have to go into the weeds about like this doctor versus this doctor. So Dr. P yesterday gave him a new prescription that I need to go check now. Actually, they checked on in there. Dr. M on Wednesday gave him a prescription of 4 medications, one kind of off of one, and added in 2 more, if that makes sense. So, but Dr. P does not realize that Dr. M gave my brother a prescription the day before. I'm the glue that has to put all the pieces together for all these people, because my brother does not have the memory or the focus enough to know that he needs to have gotten his prescription from Dr. M, not go to the emergency room and ask for medicine. And so this is where he would probably, and most people will probably think about, oh, he's unlucky. He's very unfortunate. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Part of luck is about preparedness and organization, which is, I guess, one and the same. Preparedness and organization. So you eliminate opportunities of failure. Most people equate luck with being successful, right? Having success. So having luck is not because you just did something once. It's covering your bases. I was increasing my brother's luck in the last 24 hours because I, on the back end, had the access to his medical files, and I saw where there was the misunderstanding, because my brother is just assumed I can go to the emergency room and get medicine, but that's not how it works. But because he has been to that particular hospital before, he was already on record. And so now Dr. P sent him a prescription. But I have the prescription that I'm trying to get these straight, Dr. M gave him on Wednesday. It is now Friday. Luckily, as I'm, sitting here at the pharmacy, this is my downtime now. I'm sitting here waiting for them to fill part of the prescription that he needs. It had me thinking, I've increased my brother's chances of luck because I'm covering all possible outcomes, well, as many, I won't say all, as many possible outcomes that there could be for success or failure. I'm eliminating many possible failures in that. Oh, and I'll tell you another one. I'll up that even. Um, I am in the United States right now. I am on the East Coast of the United States right now. We are closer to the afternoon. Yeah. So there is the let's see, increasing my brother's opportunity for success in that Dr. M, and I don't know if my brother did this too, Dr. M wrote my brother's birthday incorrectly on the prescription. Okay. And the reason why I think that it might have been my brother, because we have another brother. And his birthday, the dates are just this, switched. Okay? So my brother accidentally, the one that needs the medication, may have used our other brother's birth date instead of his own. I know. So I noticed that almost, I don't want to say right away, but I noticed it when I looked over the prescription. I was like, this is not his birthday. That's our other brother's birthday. And so luckily, when I talked to the pharmacist, I said, hey, I think the doctor, and again, it could be my brother too, who knows, accidentally put the wrong date on the birthday. I've already answered that question, so you can roll back like 30 seconds and you'll get that answer for the location. So had somebody who was a novice at pharmacy, they probably would have saw this prescription and be like, we can't fill it. My brother couldn't get his medicine. Again, that's misfortune. Do you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes getting organized, getting focused increases your opportunities for success. That's my theory on luck. It means you have to have clear intention of what needs to be doing, what needs to be happening. So this is my theory on what luck is increasing or eliminating. You're increasing your opportunities for success by eliminating opportunities of failure or misunderstanding. And I work really hard at that. So when I was in college, I double majored in music and communications. Fun fact. Yeah? Yeah. So being a communicator now, I've learned that you have to be, and I said this in a few other of my videos, so again, you can watch the playlist about my brother's mental health journey, that you really have to be intentional with your communication with certain people. You got to be clear and direct. And I hate that sometimes women, especially women of a certain age and of a certain culture, that we're just not direct, and we need to be direct. Okay, so again, you might want to roll back mm, probably 10 minutes at this point to see what I mentioned about my brother's illness. So it would be nice. Just go ahead and subscribe and watch the playlist, and you'll know. So he has had these mood swings over the years. I don't know when the other parts of the mental illness started flaring up. No one really knows. He might not even know because now he has these memory problems. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, thank you. I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah. So he might not remember when his first, like, whatever happened, because this disorder is so elusive that not a lot of people are getting the correct diagnosis. And that's also important too, to get the correct diagnosis, because now he can have something that will help him with his mood, and now he can have something that will help him with, let's see, let me see what they say. I'm not going to read the exact medications, but what the doctor wrote down for what it's for. So for mood, for sleep, because another part of the illness is that it makes it hard for him to go to sleep, and for depression as well. So if you are having, like, problems with memory, that's highly stressful, and that makes it really hard for people to feel safe, right? If you can't remember 10 minutes ago, I would just imagine you would feel super stressed about it, right? Like, you have no idea. And that happens, like, every, like, who knows? I don't even know how often it's happening for him. Okay? He does not use substances. So his first episode happened when he was a teenager, and we lived out in the middle of nowhere. So, no. Um, so from what I gathered, I think I'm probably the only person in his life that has known him for almost the full trajectory of his life until now. Even, I don't want to say even more than our parents, because they've been now more forthcoming with some information that I didn't know in the in between times. That is super helpful. So when he first got diagnosed in 2003, there's some things I didn't know, because I was living my life. I was, probably, yeah, just moved. I lived here in Atlanta for a few years, and just having my own life, and he was still in Alabama, dealing with those things, and he was alone. And that's the other thing that makes me feel sad, in that I think more people, more families need to be talking about this kind of thing, because everybody's keeping it a secret or pushing your loved one away into nowhere land, because you don't know how to talk to them and you don't know how to deal with it. And I think it's a lot better now, but back then it was still kind of taboo. Like, especially people who look like me, we don't talk about mental illness a lot. We say, "Oh, just go pray to Jesus and it'll go away," and that kind of thing. And that's not what it takes. It's more than just that. With all of the research I've done, I'm middle aged. I'm going to be 50 years old. Okay? He's younger than me. So, in my experience, and the only reason I feel like I've been trained in this is because of where I've worked the past 10 years, and in my profession for almost 20 years at this point. Oh, I know, because I take care of myself. Look at the channel, The Body Electric Supplement. It is here that you supercharge your life. Okay? I take care of my body and my mind and my spirit. um, yeah, and when it comes to mental health, I've worked with a population that deals has mental health starting out in a young age. And so I've kind of learned how to notice certain things, pick up on certain things, um, Nope, it is not. Like I don't tell people to eat a certain way. I just try to tell you how your body works as best as possible. I share my research on what I'm doing. I'm not whatever doctor. I'm going to be honest. I've never watched or heard. I know of his name, Doctor Sebi. I've heard of him. I have no idea what he has told people out there. Okay, I've done my own research because I've always been doing this since I was young. Like, I don't need, not to say I don't pay attention to other influencers or whatever, but I've been doing this kind of thing on my own since I was young. And then 10 years ago, since you want to know, sir, out there, 10 years ago, I had a health scare and I went to a doctor. They told me to eat right and exercise. And I was like, that doesn't sit right with me because I know something's wrong with me. And so what I try to explain to people is that you've got to be your own advocate sometimes. Not to say don't trust the doctors, you got to be on it. Because one of the things, back to my brother, I was able to give them more information that most people don't give at all, even their own selves. Like, I've learned how to pick up on things in myself, knowing that something's wrong with me. I have not had, knock on wood, I haven't had a infectious disease. I'm trying to remember when I did get the Rona because I work in a population. I only got it once, and I barely had symptoms. I probably got over it in a week, quite honestly. So, I'm just saying. And I got it in 2021. Yeah, so that was the last time I got an infection. Okay, that was the last time I got it. Had the symptoms for about a week. They told me I couldn't go back to work for another week. Um, but after that, and yes, I am a person who believes in science because again, sometimes folks will listen to other people who listen to other people, and y'all don't go and listen. Like, go get the science. It's out there. It's free. Like, learn what a vaccine is. Otherwise, a lot of people would have smallpox, polio. Unfortunately, the measles is back. Okay, so there's a lot of things that people that listen to people who don't go back and go read a book. Go read a book, okay, instead of listening to people who listen to people. Because a lot of this stuff, in fact, speaking of, I have my microbiology textbook that I ordered like a month ago. I need to crack it open and start getting in there. All of it is. Oh, yeah. So for informational purposes, yes. Okay, I totally understand. My health scare, I got pneumonia, of all things, in the summertime, if you must know. Yeah, and I believe that was an infection. That happened, like I said, 10, well, actually, 10 years ago, 2015. And I don't know when, where, how. All I had, the only symptom, I will say this, and this is why I have this channel, my only symptom was a cough that I just could not shake. And I got it in June of that year. It was just this cough that just wouldn't go away. I thought it was my allergies. And it just kept progressing and progressing until something happened. And I ended up in the emergency room and being like diagnosed. And they even almost let me go. But I kept telling the nurse about my symptoms. I kept saying it, and they kept looking, and then they found it. So that's what I'm saying. So this channel is about advocacy for yourself, like being not your only doctor, but you got to be a part of your own care team. And it's more than just eat right and exercise. It's way more than that. It's deeper than that. Your mindset has got to be like that. So when I talk about things like luck, a lot of people say, "Oh, that person's so lucky. Oh my gosh!" It's like, no, what they're doing is building up opportunities for success for themselves and eliminating opportunities of failure. That's what they're doing. And in my own work, I just had I guess I'm trying to find the best way to describe. I had a work review, I guess, today as well. And sitting down with one of my bosses, we just, sitting, and she's very chill, so it's nothing hardcore or anything. But she was so impressed with my work, with my, like, the things, even though I'm a messy, organized person. But she was just so impressed with the things I was able to accomplish, because I was like, yeah, because part of it is efficiency. Efficiency means organized and timing. So you've got to work on doing things in a certain amount of time, getting them done, and moving on, checking it off the checklist, not procrastinating. And I'm going to tell you, I am a procrastinator, by the way. Okay. So again, I do procrastinate. So there's nothing on that. But at the same time, oh no, I'm not a nurse. I'm the other. What next week is Nurses Week and teachers. I'm a teacher. Funny you say that. Yeah, it's like certain professions have certain, like, I don't want to show you my thing. So um, certain professions have certain skill sets that we have to develop. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. You're just not going to, like, you got to get it together. You got to, that kind of thing. So I'm wearing actually one of my work shirts right now. That's why I'm covering it up. So yes, I'm an educator. Um, yeah, you got to be organized out there. And that's where I was thinking about the luck thing, back to luck. So I see the family traits in myself of being the messy procrastinator. And so if somebody like my brother is getting ill and he's already messy organized, but then he's mentally not okay, it makes it worse. And he thinks that he has it together, just like I think. I know, like, if somebody asked me to find something, I was like, okay, it's in here. But it is in here. But compound that with mental illness and bad memory, there you go. Your luck is gone. Okay. So I have to help him build up skills of organization. Again, push past, I have to kind of think about, well, what would he think, not memory wise, what would he believe that would help him? Like, he keeps saying, oh, I'll write it down. It's like, but you can't. You got a bad memory. Your memory, you won't remember something in 10 minutes, you know? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so that's kind of where I am, trying to help him increase his luck, because had all of this all played out like it was, he would have never got any medicine right now. And I'm just sitting here waiting to get the things he needs right now, because I was able to be efficient enough to look at the prescriptions, ask the right questions. That's another thing. Increasing your luck. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, y'all. Especially when it comes to acquiring things, um, getting information. I basically have to present to folks, this is the situation. I'm looking for this. You might not be able to give me exactly what I want, but I kind of need at least some information. Can you help me with that? A lot of people don't do that. Okay? A lot of people just don't do that. Okay, so I don't know if there's a child on here right now. So I thought I put a block on, but there's kids out there that are younger than 13 tend to get on here and be silly. But I'm talking about adult topics right now, grown up things. Um, so I hope they get off of here asking for children's toys. Um, yeah. So right now, I don't know. I think my brother is at home taking a nap, which is good. He needs to be doing that. And hopefully by the time he wakes up from his nap, I will have the medicine, some of it, not everything, because I'm actually, and again, you got to watch my other videos, my playlist. It's like my brother's mental health journey. I think that's the title of it. So I'm trying to get him over on an injection versus a tablet, because it is a lot of medication. And no, nobody likes taking a lot of medicine, you know? So I'm trying to get him over to the injection. That's where again I'm the way getter. I was able to talk to the pharmacist yesterday and say, "Hey, is this available?" Because the doctor kept saying, "This is what's cracked me up." Because I ended up telling somebody later. The doctor, when I kept asking, I asked more than once. I was like, "Can we get this in injection form?" He was like, "Well, it depends on the supply." Again, this very elusive language. I was like, and I was asking, okay, is it available in injection form? It's like, it might be, depends on his insurance and the availability. I need to know. So when I go, yes, I am his caregiver, my brother's caregiver. So being a first time caregiver, I had a feeling, like I said in 2003, that I would end up in this boat, but I didn't know it was going to happen so soon, so fast. So a lot of the things now I'm just trying to capture just for my own mental health at this point. And a lot of people are just like, wow, I'm so impressed because I work on it. That's why I have this channel. It's not that I don't have big feelings about situations, and I try to be transparent too. So again, back to my boss, they know what's going on with my brother because I had to tell them because sometimes I have to leave work. Sometimes I want them to know that there is an ongoing something going on, to where I have to leave, right? So they know. And that's increasing the chances of success, right? So that's yet another thing. Open communication as much as possible. I mean, I'm not telling them, oh, sorry, this is Atlanta. I'm not telling them what he has. Now, if they ask, I might tell them, you know? So, increasing the opportunities for success, meaning I'm talking to all the right people or people who are around the right people. I was like, well, who can I talk to? Who can I talk to? So now I have numbers, a list of numbers, lots of resources. I'm still trying to get him like more long-term housing right now because I think that is the final piece for him. I was able to get the injections. We just have to phone it in. So yeah, long story short on that. So we got the injections. They're just they have to order them. So the doctor being wishy-washy, not giving me an answer. Listen, sir, I just need to know, can you get it, can you not? Write it down on the pad. And I'll figure out the rest. That kind of thing. So even though he did not, remember, I'm the way getter. I talked to my pharmacist, which again, I'm building a relationship with that person. And she told me, she was like, yeah, we can order it. I was like, oh, cool. And then she was like, yeah, the only drawback is he has to redo the prescription as an injection. I was like, okay, let me get my let me get my text messaging out. So here I go. 20 minutes later, they got it. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Increasing opportunities for success. A lot of people call those hurdles, I guess. I don't consider them hurdles. I just, I don't know. Because I think most people think being successful is one straight line into doing things. Sometimes you got to widen your ability to have resources. Okay? Widen your ability to have the resources you need. Think of it kind of like having money. And I'm learning about that too. Like, that's still something I got to work on. Having money in different places for different reasons, um, moving away from having just one credit card or not to abuse either. So you have a backup credit card for emergencies, of course, and then maybe having some savings in emergencies. So you're widening opportunities to make sure you have what you need. That's how I'm seeing this. Resources. And it with every turn or every bump in the road, sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the window there. With every opportunity, with every, I guess, bump in the road, now I have a resource. Okay? Now I got doctors' names. Now I got phone numbers. Now I got fax numbers. Now I've got medical records and how to go get them. I'm loving the fact that now a lot of things are digital and I'm making use of that. So That reminds me, I gotta go and make requests from a couple of other hospitals because my brother has been in a lot of hospitals, y'all. So I'm like, that's the bigger project I'm trying to put together for him is to collect all of his medical records from the past 20 years in one location. Because, yeah, yeah. So that's the bigger project that I'm working on. And to get him long term care, 24-hour care versus right now, when he asked me a month ago, he was like, well, why am I not in a group home or anything like that? And I told him, I don't think a group home is appropriate for you per se because you need 24-hour care. And I already made a video, and I'm not knocking anybody that's dealing with addiction, but it seems like a lot of the population that are in the group homes are also dealing with addiction, and he is not. Okay? Again, not knocking addiction because I also know some people are self medicating, but my brother has not been doing that this whole time. Okay? That's also, in my opinion, that is an obstacle. It's an obstacle because a lot of people just assume, oh, well, he's on drugs. Even the healthcare professionals. And again, I'm not knocking anybody who is dealing with addiction, but unfortunately, there's such rampant issue around it that people now just assume that if you're mentally ill, then you must also be on drugs or addicted to something or you got slipped something. And I have to break that even in my own family because they keep saying that about my brother. And I don't think that's what happened. Okay. It might have happened, but I don't think that's the one thing that happened. I think there was a series of events and things that he was already genetically predisposed to that something might have happened and it was the tipping point. Okay, that's my theory. Because again, I'm like seriously that one person that knows his whole life up until now. Okay, so that's my theory, and knowing his personality and deciphering his personality from the illness because I know him. And that's another reason why a lot of people, and I put this in other videos, they keep saying, like, oh, you're such a good sister, or like, I can't see myself doing all that because I know his real personality, my brother's real personality. Now, and it would break my own heart that even on his worst days, that I couldn't stand and be there with him, even on his worst days. It's not about me. I mean, but at the same time, I am working on boundaries, and that's another thing I am working on my own boundaries for my own self care. But he is such a kind and generous person that this has happened to him. And it's like, I don't want to say it shouldn't have happened to him, but this has happened to him. And I want him to be able to know that he can be a better person, be stronger, you know, be a better person and be happy. Because I think with his new disorder, with the mood swings and the cloudy thinking, it makes both worse. Most people who are healthy, when you when most people are healthy and you are upset, you tend to, cloud your judgment, right? Most people who are upset tend to make more mistakes. Yeah? A lot of people might not think about that, but that is true. When you are upset, when you're scared, you're not thinking as clearly. And so if he's already having alterations of his own moods, which are not his to control sometimes, that makes it harder for him to function, right? Mm-hmm. So with a mood disorder and then with memory, a lot of that is interlocked. And like I said, I've talked about it in my other videos. Again, you can get in the weeds with me about that. I go deep with that. A lot of people just don't want to do the work. Unfortunately, they want to go listen to a talking head say, I'm the expert. I'm gonna just tell y'all now, I am not the expert. I'm not the expert. I'm learning and still learning and practicing and doing. I do make, I try to like tell people the things I use, because a lot of people who even on this live right now are saying things, oh, you don't look your age. It's like, what is that supposed to look like? What could it look like for any other person out there? Like when we stress ourselves out, you age yourself. You overextend your own emotions. That clouds your judgment. Even I think it was yesterday or this morning, I was thinking about all the people that I see in a day, and they're angry at customer service or they'll yell. Like, yeah, that's what I did. It was yesterday. I was in, oh, well, thank you. I was in a store grocery shopping really quick, again, picking up my brother from the hospital. And as I walk in, there are two men about to go at it, like for real, like for real, for real. And a lot of folks don't even acknowledge their own wellness within themselves, their own emotions, you know? And that affects your physical health as well. And it's not always just about, and then vice versa. It's not always about like, oh, um, and again, I'm an educator, so I get kids coming up to me like, my finger hurts. And so they're focusing on that pain on their finger. And they can't focus on other things because they're focusing on that pain, right? All people do that. Animals do that. We all do that. Now, some of us have gotten used to certain aches and pains or whatever, but if you're already in a delicate state, it just makes it all worse. Okay? All of it's related to each other, all of it comes together. Okay? I think my own alarm went off for the prescription, and so I'm going to give him maybe 5-ish more minutes. I'll try to call my brother one more time. I don't want to wake him up, though, if he's actually taking a nap that he needs to be taking. Because, as I said earlier in this live, um, some of the heartaches or hard things that is hard for him is getting to sleep, going to sleep, getting the sleep he needs to be more resilient. Okay? For those mood swings that tend to happen. And so once we get this medicine, maybe the mood swings will stop as badly as they are, having, which is giving him those reactions. So think about it. If you're in a bad mood, telling somebody to be in a good mood doesn't always work. In fact, it makes it worse, right? Um, but medically, I kind of have to tell him like, "Oh, you're having a mood swing. I'll stop and then I'll leave the room." And he may or may not even remember. I'll come back 15 minutes later and just start over again, and just be like, "Oh." So I don't hold him like you yelled at me like 10 minutes ago. It's like he probably doesn't even remember. It was a mood swing. It came and went like a wave, right? And that's the seriously dangerous thing about illnesses like this. It's torture. I can just imagine. It is torture. And then, like I said, compounded with memory issues. If I came at him all angrily and he doesn't even remember what happened, it's like that makes him upset, which again would trigger more of the clouded thinking, right? So nobody likes it when they're being yelled at or being fussed at or whatever. I have to find a way to be more tactful in what I say to him. Um, Wait until he is in an executive state, meaning that he can function and focus on that. Oh no, he's not. Again, that's a part of me knowing his personality. Actually, I told like he's scared of me. I think early on when we came, like when I got him, and set him up in this apartment. I think he tried. I think he tried to think he was trying to tell me something and cuss me. It's like, first of all, I don't cuss. Second of all, I know you're not talking to me like that. So yeah, that stopped right away. Yeah. So I understand he had to do certain things to survive, but he is not in survival state at this point. Hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'll be honest and about this. Like my own dad right now, he's kind of feeling like that. He's afraid for me because he watches the news too much. Like there's a like I'm gonna say this, there's a lot of people that have mental illness that are high functioning and walking around in these streets, like for real. Like once I dove into this world of caregiving for my brother, and now I start to see, oh no, no, you're talking about things that a lot of people do believe, and that's why more people need to be talking about this. Like there are people with various forms of mental illness, and I found out again through some of my research that anxiety is the number one. Anxiety, fear, and levels of fear, you know, and worry. Worry is not a diagnosis, but that's one of the symptoms of anxiety, like excessive worry, you know? And there are so many people that once have one little conversation with them about my brother, then next thing I know, they're opening up like, yeah, I take this and this and this. And I was like, what? And, I think that's why we all need to start talking about this more. Like, for real. I'm not ashamed, you know? And I'm not actually out there just bragging about it either with my brother, but I'm also being truthful. It's like, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And I think, like I said, the more people talk about it, the easier that we all like work on it. And there's those are the folks who are diagnosed and are taking medicine. There's so many people who are not diagnosed and not taking any medicine, and they're doing the self medication. Back to my channel, where like a lot of people might have addictive habits because that they think that's the only way. And I'm not just talking about substances. I'm talking about things like scrolling on your phone all day, or shopping, or relations with others, what, you know what I mean? It's like all of these other things that people do to put off, push away what they think that are their problems, when really you got to come to grips with yourself and know who you are, you know. And I'm not saying anything that I haven't been through myself. I won't say I was alcoholic at all, but I know at one point in my life I drank probably too much, too often and too much, and it compounded and it made for poor health, which made again, I feel bad. So in order to feel good, maybe I need to eat some food, so all of these things compound upon each other, you know? Yeah, people do shy away from these conversations, and I really wish more people would talk about it. Like for real talk. Not to say that you're an expert, not to say that, oh, you should be doing this, do this, and do that. I'm just sharing what's working and, help seeing if other people can be helped. Like back here in my, like I got to travel with some of the medication for my brother at this point, because sometimes as he was getting on it, and now that I think about it, when he was in his manic states, he was like, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Take my medicine. Oh, I don't need any medicine. I'm okay. See, look, I'm up and running around." Because he used to be a runner, and I also found out some information on that too. A lot of former athletes, a lot of this is as well. When I go back into cognitive, it's like the place now, but I need to probably go. But yeah, just check out a lot of my playlists. I will probably work on being a lot more organized, but I have lots of videos on basically how can you have a better life mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. There's a lot of things. Like we got to stop hiding from all of this stuff. all of it's so interlocked into each other. Like my other hand's holding my phone. Sorry. All of this is so interlocked. It'd be like, man, so you mean to tell me if I get my body right, in shape, I feel better in my body? Oh, you mean if I break these habits? Not even like most people think smoking, drinking, other things like that are the addiction. I'm talking about stuff like watching too much TV for kids. I'm talking about eating too much food that you shouldn't be eating in the first place. I'm talking about shopping, buying things that you don't need, and then now you're broke, and then you're sad, and now, oh, I need to go eat some food. You like, see, do you see what I'm saying? You got to address, why are you doing these things? Why are you doing these things? So this is that kind of channel. Okay, so I know this is kind of longer than almost, no, I don't know, because I meant to meditate for a little bit, but I gave myself some meditation time today, this morning, and I definitely needed it, especially after yesterday and the day before. And I'm hoping now that we get this medicine, my brother's mood swings will probably even out a lot too. And that will be super helpful for the clarity of his mind. So I can get him calm enough to hopefully maybe start teaching him how to really take care of himself in a better way. Because, yeah, that's where we are right now. But yeah, I've got a playlist. This one video will probably make it to the playlist, get to the other playlists. First week of May, next week is Nurses Week and Teachers Week. Go hug a nurse, go hug a teacher, because we're pretty much the same sometimes, y'all. And I don't know, maybe I'll put this in a short or something, because that can be a 3-minute thing, where I'm starting to notice a lot of service workers, like people like working class folk and slightly professional folk, how we relate to each other in our fields on our jobs at the same time. Because I had a great, I guess, experience last week. Went on a field trip and had a great interaction with the bus driver. And the bus driver was trying to get some things done, and she was like with the traffic person, and it was almost like we're all in this together right now. We're all on the job right now. We're doing our jobs right now, and we're making it work. Nobody's mad at anybody because we're all doing our jobs. It's like, yeah, there's some whatever, but we're all doing our jobs. You know, that's where we are. All right, so yeah, let me go. Let me pick up his medicines now and take care, y'all. Bye. Subscribe and like and watch them all of the videos. Share them too. Tell the people. Tell them all. Bye.